Hello, everyone, and welcome to Price Lanes, Price's Corner, Wilmington. Len Holmquist in company with Ward Novak, and we are ready to bring you the championship game in the Bowlers Gazette Top 10 Major Girls Competition. And this championship match is going to pit Melissa Campanelli right here against Sabrina Brooks. And Melissa is the top seed. Melissa with a wealth of accomplishments already, just 16 years of age. And boy, can she bowl.
Yeah, Len, her bio sheet indicates that she's already had a 299 game and a 659 high series.
Now tell me, Ward, when you were 16, did you have a 299 game?
I didn't have a 250 when I was 16.
Still working on it?
No, I've got that now.
Okay. But Kim, her younger sister, lost out earlier in competition in a younger bracket. And this is Melissa picking up the spare to open our championship match. Major girls, Melissa is the #1 seed. Sabrina Brooks is the #2 seed. Sabrina bowls out of Blue Hen Lanes. She just completed her freshman year at the University of Delaware. Carries about a 167 average. And this will be our first look at Sabrina. Nice deliberate approach. Out of bounds. We've seen that throughout competition that we've been taping here for display on local cable television. They get it to the right, and it just does not want to come back. And maybe, you know, Ward, that's the way it's supposed to be. If you don't make a good, crisp, clean shot, you ought to be penalized a little bit for it.
Well, it's kind of interesting you make that comment because, as I mentioned earlier today, the Delaware State Men's Championship was held here at Price's, and we found that the folks that were making really good shots got rewarded, and those that didn't paid a price. And it's been that way again today.
Nice cover-up of the spare by Sabrina. Sabrina got started bowling when she was around 5 or so. Her mom signed her up along with her brother in a Saturday morning junior league. They've been bowling ever since. She likes bowling on Saturdays. This telecast is being taped on a Sunday. I hope she likes bowling as well on Sundays.
I know I'll have my VCR running.
You just want to hear your commentary played back for you. 5-7. Let's see if Sabrina can cover it.
Just hope that that commentary is not embarrassing.
Sabrina has placed in the Keystone State Games in bowling competition, also the Central Pennsylvania Open Tournament. Bowling for about 12 years. A lot of good junior programs around, and she's a product of one of those down at Blue Hen Lanes in Newark. Goes for the 5-7. Didn't get it over quite far enough. Difficult spare, and will go open in the second frame, so she'll count 26 through 2 frames. Melissa Campanelli, and I'll tell you what, Ward, I'm going to let you do some of the honors of some of her accomplishments because she has many, many, many.
Well, I think one of the biggest things here is that Melissa is going to be going to the YBC, that's the Youth Bowling Championship, sponsored by Coca-Cola, for the 4th time this year. She went twice in the handicapped girls division, and this year she's going to be representing Delaware in the scratch division again. This will be her 2nd time. First time I got a real chance to watch her was in Denver. So I think it's going to be it's really a credit to how well she's practiced and how much work she's put into the game.
1-2-8 spare to be made, and she covers it like she's had to do it a number of times without any difficulty whatsoever. As I said earlier, she's been bowling quite a while. She's 16, goes to William Penn School over in Newcastle in the 11th grade. She has a little bit of an unorthodox style because she lets that arm fly away from her, but she's bowled so much that way that the muscle memory is there for her.
Yeah, but she still comes straight up with the ball, right, and gets a lot of forward rotation on it. Lets that reactive resin ball do some of the work for her.
I'll tell you who she reminds me of just a little bit.
Leanne Barrett.
Leanne Barrett. You took the words right out of my mouth. Leanne Barrett, although Leanne will keep the arm tucked in a little bit closer, and I think as Kim matures in her bowling game, she's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think she's watched Leanne a little bit from time to time on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour events, and she covers her spare. and she's clean through the first 3. Counts 36 in the second with a spare up in the third. Sabrina Brooks qualified number 2 in the major girls competition. She won in the semifinal match to get here over Danielle Burke. Burke had come up the ladder, but she defeated Burke to stop her run, 177 to 165, and she is smacking them down with authority.
Sabrina carried a really nice shot there. She lays the ball down a little bit early, gets the ball down the lane, and she got a real good back end reaction that time. And I think that kind of says something about the conditions that she bowled on at Blue Hen. It's a little bit different than here, and sometimes you'll notice that she'll throw the ball a little wide and it won't come back. The conditions this year at Blue Hen allowed you to make a little bit of that mistake and get away with it.
But she made a nice adjustment.
Absolutely.
This last frame, and was rewarded for her effort. This time she's a little bit too direct on the head pin and pays for it. Smiles, a little bit of a wry smile. She knew she was in trouble as the ball went halfway down the lanes. Shakes her head a little bit. Who had the most influence in her bowling ability? I think that my coaches have had the most influence on my bowling ability because they have essentially made me the bowler that I am today. I have had 4 coaches, including my mom, who I learned the most from in my bowling career. So she gives credit where credit is due to a number of good coaches that she's had, including her mom. I'll tell you one thing else that Sabrina has. She has excellent, excellent handwriting.
Yes, it's easy to read.
It is certainly easy to read, and when you're doing our job, it comes in handy to be able to read. And of course, with Melissa, she's got a whole host of credentials. Can't get that 2-pin to topple over into the 5.
Melissa's been real active in bowling, competitive bowling at Pierce since 1988, where she started winning some of her Wilmington Youth Bowling Association tournaments. She's got several firsts and seconds in virtually every event. So she's got tons and tons of stuff behind her, to her credit. And as she gets toward her college, you know, hopefully this will come in real handy for her, and she'll be able to go to a school and offer some scholarships. And one of the things really behind her is the very solid support of her mom and dad, Jean and George Campanelli. And her mom, Jean, was a longtime member of the Delaware Women's Top 20 rankings, and you know that Melissa is destined to be there. Well, Kim's her younger sister, and she's going to be there too. They're both going to be there. There's no question. I think a lot of things that we've noticed is that as the several of the youth bowlers in the area have either decided to stay or come back, they've ended up in that top 20 ranking, and I think Melissa's going to be another one of those people.
Good-looking shot, and we'll be back to continue this championship match between Sabrina Brooks and Melissa Campanelli in just a moment.
How and when did you become interested in bowling?
I was about 7 years old when I started bowling. My sister was in a junior league, and instead of staying home, my mother enrolled me in some junior leagues. And, you know, it's something that I've grown up with and enjoyed all through elementary school and high school also.
What advice would you give to a younger bowler?
I'd probably have to say, first off, right away, establish yourself with a credible coach. That's been a big part of my career. Is I've had a coach for 15 years, and he's been someone that I've grown up with and developed with. You know, not only practice, but to make sure that you practice correctly and you're fundamentally sound. And I think that's a very big part of today's bowling.
Back here at Price Lanes in the middle of our championship match in the major girls competition of the Bowlers Gazette Top 10 tournament. It's Melissa Campanelli and Sabrina Brooks. So far, Melissa Campanelli counting 74 with a strike in the 5th. Sabrina Brooks went open in the 4th frame. She counts 54, so she's got a little work in front of her to catch up to Melissa. Let's see if she can get it started right now. Good-looking shot into the pocket, and they all go down. She has got such an easy, simple game, Ward, that it's rewarding to her when she does it effectively. Yeah. Very rewarding.
Yeah, Melissa lays the ball down almost so easily that you don't even hear her hit the lane.
You mean Sabrina?
I'm sorry?
Sabrina.
I'm sorry, Sabrina.
Smooth.
Smooth.
She's got that smooth approach. And you know, being around bowling as long as I have and as long as you have, it's nice to watch people that smooth. You know who she reminds me of with the smooth approach, although he has a wealth of much more experience. Uh-oh, she's got problems here, is a gentleman from Dover, Paul Bush Sr. He is probably one of the smoothest bowlers that you'd ever want. You don't hear it. You don't hear the ball go down. You just watch the reaction.
And anytime you get compared to Paul Bush, it's pretty neat. Everybody knows, or I hope everybody knows, that Paul has a senior PBA title, the Hammer Open in 1990.
First one of Delawareans or from this area to win a PBA title on the senior tour. And of course, recently, Jim Johnson Jr. winning on the regular tour. She'll go open by not being able to pick up that difficult spare. Melissa Campanelli. Just watch her and forget the face and think of Leanne Barrett, as we alluded to a moment ago. She's got the same approach, but she goes way wide that time.
Yeah, that was definitely the out-of-bounds area.
Yeah.
There's no question. She was outside the first arrow on that ball.
She let her arm leak away from her. She's going to run into a coach who is going to tuck that arm in a little bit tighter, and boy, what a game she's going to have then. She's got an explosive game as it is. Really handles her equipment well. And just a little refinement is going to make her a very, very tough competitor. I have no idea how she left those 3 pins.
Well, that's a reaction that you'll get with the new reactive high-powered equipment. Once it gets on a line, sometimes it just will not react as you expect, and it'll cut through the pins.
She goes open, first open frame for Melissa Campanelli in the 6th frame. She'll count 98. In the 6th frame, her opponent, Sabrina Brooks, has 82, so she's 16 pins up as we move into the 7th frame of competition, and boy, does she come back.
That was a much better shot. The last one where she left kind of that messy spare, she had kind of circled the ball, and it caused it to skid a little bit. This one she stayed behind and got really good lift up through the ball.
Melissa, of course, having a lot of experience playing on the Junior Bowlers Tour, where she's finished 2nd 3 times and in the top 5 4 other times, and that is against real top-notch competition. And she's got some competition right here in her opponent, Sabrina Brooks, 2 strikes on the 4th lane.
Yeah, if Sabrina can catch a strike here on lane 3, she's going to really turn up the pressure on Melissa.
As we said earlier, Sabrina recently finishing up her freshman year at the University of Delaware, involving herself with the junior program at Blue Hen Lanes down in Newark. There is about a 13-pin difference in average between these two, and Sabrina that time way across her body. That one got away from her, feeling a little pressure, needing and knowing that she needed that double to keep herself pretty much in this match. Now she's got a lot of work to do with this spare shot.
And I think one of the things that Sabrina will see, too, now that she's at the University of Delaware, she's probably going to have an opportunity as the university puts more pressure on her time. She'll probably start looking at the adult leagues, moving up a little bit in the competition. She's going to get a lot better.
In case you missed earlier matches in girls play finals, the prep girls #1 seed Tina Zaza was a winner over Kelly Stevens. Nice spare cover by Sabrina. In the junior girls competition, it was Christina Rose, the #1 seed, defeated Tina Maselli. And right now, our #1 seed is Melissa Campanelli, and she appears to have this match in hand, but there is still some paper left, or some computer left for scoring. And into the pocket, 9-pin won't fall, 8-pin won't fall. Got that good tap out of the 10 to break up the split that was not going to be made by anyone, or hardly ever made by anyone.
You know, usually you just rock back and fire at it and hope that it bounces out. That's about the only chance you've got.
Every once in a while, you get a little bit of a break. I've been around bowling a long time, Ward. I think I've seen the 7-10 made once.
I've seen it twice, and both times it was on the PBA tour on television, so I've never seen it live.
I didn't see it on TV. I've seen it live one time, and I had to kind of like, he just made the 7-10. He just made the 7-10. It was one of those.
The sad part is it used to be when you had to keep score with paper, you paid attention and everybody got excited. Today with the computer, you have to look up to see if the guy made the spare.
Melissa Campanelli makes her spare in the 8th frame, counts 118 through 7 with the spare up here in the 9th. On 3, a little late in the pocket, but gets a flying pin to take out the 5.
Yeah, she got the action of the head pin off and took out the 5 pin. It was a really good, powerful shot again, like she made the last time on that lane.
Well, she has a wealth of experience behind her in junior bowlers competition, in Coca-Cola competition. She was the Delaware Coca-Cola national champion in the handicap division back in 1994. She's got a 2-page, really pretty packed resume right now, and you know, another couple of years it's going to grow and grow and grow as Sabrina Brooks can't get them all to cooperate and go down.
Usually these are the kind of players that the colleges that have a good, strong bowling program start looking for. The University of Nebraska, Wichita State, Vincennes, University of New York, Buffalo.
Sabrina Brooks with a 10-pin to be made here in the 9th frame. She'll finish it out. Has it run into the channel, and that'll give her a 130 count going into the 10th frame. The best that she can shoot, if she could strike out here, would be 160. As I said earlier, she did win 177 over 165 against Danielle Burke in the semifinal match that was done off camera earlier. Just trying to stray behind the ball into the pocket.
A lot of people don't realize, too, here in Delaware, with the coaching program that we have, as small as Delaware is, we have some really strong players come out of Delaware. We've had 2 alternates on Team USA, Bill Ripley and Dave Carter. We had a national championship winner in the Youth Bowling Championships a few years ago. It's a real strong program here, and I don't think people often give it enough credit.
Sabrina Brooks will finish out this game, but she is going to go into this match seeded 2nd, and she's going to come out of this match as number 2. Her fill ball coming up, takes a deep sigh and says, well, better luck next time. Writes that what she likes most about tournament play is the competition and the opportunity to meet so many talented young bowlers. Well, she has met one here in Melissa Campanelli, for sure.
She ran into a tough one.
And to be very honest with you, Melissa didn't have her A game running for her, but she had enough of a game, a good, solid game, going to win this title. We'll stay with it as Melissa will finish up her game. She's working on a strike in the 9th with a 138 count through 8. So she could finish with a 198 if she could go off the computer with 3 strikes. That's not going to help, though, as she goes wide right and out of bounds, but she does have the title in hand. So she'll add to her resume.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about what the score says as long as you win the title.
That's it. I mean, that's really the, you know, how many people will tell you, I don't care how, just how many, and make that how many more than my opponent. And that's exactly what Melissa has done. And you're going to see a lot more and hear a lot more of Melissa Campanelli, to be sure. She will go open here in the 10th frame, but it really doesn't matter. There's your champion in the Bowlers Gazette Top 10 Tournament Major Girls Competition. It is Melissa Campanelli defeating Sabrina Brooks. Final score, Melissa Campanelli 166, Sabrina Brooks 149. For Ward Novak, this is Len Holmquist at Price Lanes. Hope you've enjoyed it, everyone. I know where you did.
How and when did you become interested in bowling?
When? Well, I've always been interested in bowling. My family owns a bowling center, so I have been since I was 2 years old.
What advice would you give to a younger bowler?
To practice a lot. The only advice I can give is to stay in it. You know, if you get frustrated, bowling is a very frustrating sport, and you try to keep going and you practice and you keep your mind focused like any other sport, and you try your best.
How does it feel to be the first woman to bowl at 300 on TV?
It's a great achievement for any woman or male to do that on TV. If it helps bowling overall for women, I'm glad I did it. And if it gives even the younger children, you know, whoever bowling, if it gives them something to work for to be a pro, I'm happy I did it. And I've had a lot of younger kids come up to me and say, I saw your 300 on TV, it was great, you know, and I can't wait to go bowl. And I'm like, that's good. If I'm a good influence, then I'm glad I did it.